Dr. Elizabeth Kaufer Busch is an assistant professor of American Studies at Christopher Newport University and is the founder and co-director of the Center for American Studies. Professor Busch sits down with the Miller Center's Mike Deshaies to discuss the role played by the Center for American Studies in promoting the study of the American founding at Christopher Newport University.
Professor Busch, tell us a little bit about your program at Christopher Newport University.
We have a kind of unusual story at CNU. We have a president who is keenly aware of the need for students to be educated to be the next future leaders, and he recognizes that connected with that is an education founded in America's founding principles. So he had an initiative to begin a curricular program in American Studies that focused on America's founding principles. And aware that there was this curricular initiative supported from the top, I and a couple of colleagues got together and came up with the idea of putting together a center that would provide supplemental activities for this curricular program.
Really?
We came up with the idea of the center, we pitched it to our president, provost, deans, and started the fundraising with a seed grant from the Jack Miller Center. From there, we put on our first conference, and the idea of our initial conference was founding the American experiment, because our entire academic program is centered around what is the American experiment and studying the founding documents connected to it. So with that small seed grant that we got from the Jack Miller Center, it inspired us to build this larger program. A year and a half later, we applied for an NEH We the People grant to institutionalize our center at the university and create additional programs such as a postdoctoral fellowship, speaker series, as well as summer institutes for high school teachers. And we were more than shocked and surprised and fortunate enough to be awarded one.
Describe what your program offers to your students.
We offer an American Studies major and minor. And the core courses we offer, which are directed by myself, I teach most of them or I recruit faculty to teach them, are various aspects of the American experiment. So the 100 level will focus on founding the American experiment. The 200 level looks at the evolution of the American experiment, how it's changed over time. And the third course looks at the American experiment in a global context, so how the world views America and how America views the world and how the American experiment has impacted the world.
Talk a little bit about the approach that the Jack Miller Center has of being nonpartisan and how that aligns with your approach in terms of being nonpartisan.
I feel very passionately about the fact that in all of our programming and our courses, we need to present a nonpartisan teaching of America's founding principles. And I think that's what the Jack Miller Center does so well in their summer institutes, as well as their civic education programs, that there is no political agenda. The idea is just to re-engage people on the great books that have been written by America's founders, to re-engage the debates and ask the important questions that helped bring the American experiment to what it is today.
How do you foster enthusiasm in your students for this?
I think presenting activities and inviting seasoned scholars to campus. We are a small liberal arts school that a lot of people haven't heard of, but there are a lot of good things about our campus, and I think that our Center for American Studies is one of those. Bringing opportunities to students to speak with these seasoned scholars. And I tell them this doesn't only allow you to engage on an interesting topic, but it allows you to make connections with faculty at premier institutions. And so students who might find themselves interested in law school or graduate school are not only getting the opportunity of that particular experience at that moment, but in learning more about what graduate school might entail.
Professor, why do you, other members of the faculty, your university president, all feel that it's very important for students to learn more about America's founding principles and history?
I guess I would add to that not only strengthening a study in the American founding principles, but also reading the great texts, speeches, arguments of the great individuals that helped shape America. I feel it is a mission of mine to help students learn how to make logical arguments. And I feel that they don't see examples of that in the public realm very often these days. So that fosters a kind of cynicism amongst them. And in my years of teaching classes in politics, I found there's a delicate line you cross in trying to communicate to them that there's more than one way to see an issue. Almost always they feel as if you must be pushing an ideological platform if you challenge what they say. So if you engage them regarding what the smartest minds have had to say on the American experiment, the great debates that have shaped the American experiment, the Federalists and Anti-Federalists. You know, when I was an undergraduate, we studied the Federalist Papers and never the Anti-Federalists. Why is that? How do you get a balanced view of the product, the Constitution, if you are not aware of the ideas that shaped it from both sides? What I would like to instill in them is a recognition that intelligent people disagree with one another. And that just because a person disagrees with you does not mean that they're ignorant, nor does it mean that they're ideological. But perhaps we can learn to formulate the best arguments on both sides of an issue. And ideally, this is what faculty would do too, which is why I think it's important to invite faculty to come and see these great scholars debate the issues.
How do you see your program evolving, and what role do you see the Jack Miller Center playing in helping you with that?
Well, the entire program was inspired by the Jack Miller Center Summer Institutes. I mean, literally, we would not have a program had it not been for the inspiration of the center, but also the presentation of resources, introducing us to Peter Lindsay of the National Endowment for the Humanities as a resource to learn about the kinds of things the NEH is interested in seeing. Speaking with publishers from the University of Kentucky Press so that we know how we're supposed to shape a book proposal at the high level. I think small universities are a great area to focus on for Jack Miller because unlike some of the larger universities where it can be one program among many, at a smaller university, this can be a signature program. And we've been moving in the direction of trying to get our courses to our highest caliber students. So that's the direction we're trying to go with it.
Talk about why the Center Building Summits are so important.
Well, I personally have found the Center Building Summits so important, not only to my career in helping me get the center built, but also in helping to reinvigorate my passion and my dedication to the teaching of these ideas. Simply being around other faculty who share the same mission in a generic sense of reinvigorating the great debates in American history and understanding the Constitution, the Declaration of Independence, it makes you feel part of a real community. And that's a community that you may not live in the same area, but you are in the community by bringing them to campus and visiting their campuses and sharing your knowledge. So just this morning, I met two individuals whose research focuses on civic engagement, which is what our conference is focusing on at CNU this year. So I've here found two scholars who have an expertise, and I'm looking for that expertise. So Jack Miller has brought scholars together that share a common interest but have different unique foci on how to study those interests.
Thank you very much for your time.
This has been a Jack Miller Center digital media presentation. For more information, visit thejackmillercenter.org.